Hey everyone, if you are new here, then this video is a part of the beginner friendly Python series where I would be teaching you Python right from scratch. We are trying to keep things super simple, beginner friendly and hands-on, and we are not rushing through concepts here. We are building them step by step right from scratch. So just make sure that you've checked this playlist so that you don't miss anything right from start. Hey everyone, welcome back. So in the last video, we had our Python setup. We had our basic VS Code setup to run Python, and we executed our first line, the classic line, print hello world. So before we get into this video, a quick note. So Python is a general purpose, high level, dynamically typed programming language. This is the line you'll probably hear in every Python tutorial. You've done that. With no delay, let's go into the video. Okay. So last video lo, you ran your first line of code, print hello world. But let me just ask you something. Meeku eppudaina anpichinda, like when I write a Python code and execute it, what exactly happens internally? Asalu, whatever I wrote in English, how does the computer understand that? Computer doesn't understand your plain English. Computer kaddamayedi only machine code, and machine code is in binaries, zeros and ones. The CPU understands that instructions and it executes. That is a simple funda. So you wrote a code in high level programming language like Python, and that code is converted into a low level programming language that is your machine code basically. How is this done? So to know that, you need to know about two things: compilers and interpreters. Why C, C++, and Java are called compiled languages, and why languages like Python and JavaScript are called interpreted languages. Come on, I'll just show you a simple demo of how things work there. So firstly, let's understand about compiler. Compiler ఏం చేస్తుంది అంటే, compiler takes your entire code and converts that into machine code. That is a simple task that a compiler does. So if you see in languages like C and Java, they typically create a .exe file or a .class file when you run. I mean, this is created when you run a Java program, and this is created when you typically run a C++ or a C program. So what are these? ఇవి ఏంటివి అంటే, once you write the code and give it to a compiler, it will generate these .exe or .class files. అవి ఏంటివి అంటే, you can run those files anywhere even if you don't have your source code. It takes your whole code, it bundles up with the necessary libraries, all of those things. It will pick up from the standard libraries and it will make an exe file. That thing you can run it anywhere. Okay, that's what compiled languages do. Python works a bit different. Python doesn't have your traditional compiler thingy. Python lo enti ante, you'll call Python as an interpreted language. So Python has an interpreter, not a compiler. That's what people say outside. But what happens internally when you run a Python file is, the whole code, compiler takes that code. That compiler will compile your code into something called bytecode, not your machine code. That's called bytecode. Ippudu enti ante, now the Python ka interpreter will come into play. The Python's interpreter will read that bytecode line by line and will execute that by converting that into machine code. Simple. I'll just show you the flow of the things. So this is how things work in Python. I write a Python file, then I run it. That file initially goes to a compiler. Then that compiler would give you a bytecode representation. Now this bytecode will go to an interpreter, where from the bytecode, each and every line is interpreted and executed by converting it into machine code. Simple. So this is what happens behind the scenes when you run a Python program. So the thing is, Python is an interpreted language, but then majalo we have a hidden step, the compilation step. Enti ante Python adi behind the scenes chusukuntadi. Okay, it just executes your code without creating those .exe or .class files. Okay guys, so before going into the concept of variables, I want you guys to know about something called input output. Yesterday we wrote a program saying print hello world. Manam rashnam aithe rashnam, but what is that doing? So print is a standard output function provided by Python inbuilt. Enti ante, that thing outputs something onto your terminal. So in the same way, there is an inbuilt method in Python called input, and that method is used to take input from the terminal. ఏంటి అంటే, developers often have to interact with these input-output tools. They have to take something as input and then they have to give some sort of thing as output. So there are two functions, inbuilt functions in Python, the input function and the print function, which are used for standard input and standard output. I'll tell you about these concepts in detail when we reach to the stage where we discuss about input and output streams. Okay, so finally today's topic, variables. To explain variables to you guys, I just want you guys to think about something. Okay, just think of your calculator application. Okay, a simple calculator in your phone or your computer. So what does typically happen? You type two numbers and then you type an operator, plus or minus or something, and then you hit equal to. So typically your computer or your phone should know where this number you're trying to add is in the memory location. Okay, typically computers and phones have a vast memory space, like GB lo vaduntadi about storage, but then when you try to access them, you should know where those memory locations are. They are stored somewhere around in the memory, and then that somewhere around undi kada, to access that, okay, to refer to that, we use variables. Simple concept adi. So simple ga cheppali ante variable ante enti ante oka data location. Data location ante entidi nenu cheppina meeku, whatever data you have is stored in the form of bits in the computer. Okay, zeros one format lone store ayi untadi nee daggara ఏ data unna kuda. Okay, so ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, ఈ డేటాని ఒక మెమరీ లొకేషన్ అంటావు. నౌ టు పాయింట్ టు దిస్ మెమరీ లొకేషన్ అంటే ఈ మెమరీ లొకేషన్ని రెఫర్ చేయడానికి సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలి అంటే ఈ మెమరీ లొకేషన్కి ఒక లేబుల్ వేస్తావు. సో దాట్ లేబుల్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ యువర్ వేరియబుల్, అంతే. సో నువ్వు ఏ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్కి వెళ్ళినా వేరియబుల్స్ ఈజ్ ద మోస్ట్ బేసిక్ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఎవ్రీ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ హ్యాస్ ఇట్స్ ఓన్ వే ఆఫ్ రెఫరింగ్ టు మెమరీ లొకేషన్స్ అనమాట. So Python has its own way of referring to memory locations. Java has its own way. C has its own way. C++ has its own way. కాకపోతే వాటివి కొంచెం సిమిలర్గా కనిపిస్తాయి. కంపైల్డ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్కి ఒకలా ఉంటాయి అండ్ దెన్ ఇంటర్ప్రిటెడ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్కి ఒకలా ఉంటాయి. సో ఇన్ పైథాన్ ద సింటాక్స్ ఆఫ్ డిక్లేరింగ్ అ వేరియబుల్ కానీ ఇవన్నీ చాలా సింపుల్గా ఉంటాయి. యూ జస్ట్ సే దాట్ ఇదిగో ఐ హ్యావ్ a number 5 to store in this location and name it as A or B or C or anything. అట్లుంటుంది అనమాట. సో చాలా థియరీ అయిపోయింది. లెట్స్ జస్ట్ సీ ద సేమ్ థింగ్ ఇన్ యాక్షన్ ఒకసారి. లెట్స్ క్రియేట్ ఎ న్యూ ఫైల్ కాల్డ్ variables.py. ఓకే, సో ఐ జస్ట్ వాంట్ టు షో యూ గైస్ హౌ డు వి డిక్లేర్ వేరియబుల్స్. ఇందాక నేను ఐ గివ్ యూ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆఫ్ క్యాల్కులేటర్ వేర్ ఇట్ స్టోర్స్ numbers, right? And then it refers them using these variable names. I want to show you how we declare variables in Python now. So Python the variable declaration is very simple. So you just say there is a memory location, I want to name it as A and store 5 in it. That's it. Now ekkado memory lo 5 undi, aa 5 anedi A ane variable lo store ayindi. So nuvu ee code lo ekkada aina A ni refer chestunavu ante let's say ఇప్పుడు నేను A ని ప్రింట్ చేస్తున్నా అనుకుందాం. let's say I'm printing A. ఇక్కడ ఏంటి, I'm referring to A. That means what? I want to see what is the value at A. I mean, what is the data that is stored at A. So we'll just execute that. Output is 5. So ఏంటి, when you say print A, the print function will ask అసలు A లో ఏముంది అట్లా అని. So A will say that I have 5 in me. So ఆ 5 ఇక్కడ వచ్చి ప్రింట్ అయిపోతుంది. సింపుల్ కాన్సెప్ట్. So let's say let's declare one more variable b equal to 10, and then let's declare one more variable that stores the sum of these two variables. Let's say result equal to a plus b. Simple, just like numbers addition లానే నువ్వు అక్కడ వేరియబుల్స్ని యాడ్ చేస్తావు. I'll just print result. ఎందుకు addition చూపిస్తున్నానంటే నేను just to show you how those things work in the calculator and all. So just like this, A యొక్క memory location, B యొక్క memory location కి referrals, A యొక్క memory location కి refer చేసే name, B యొక్క memory location కి refer చేసే name, and then I'm adding both of them and I'm storing it and one more location which is named with result. So ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, result print చేస్తే now those two will get added and I'll print 15. ఇక్కడ చూసినట్టయితే you're printing 15. So ఇక్కడ ఏంటి, the computer knows where A and B in memory exist. So it retrieves those values, it adds them up and it stores them back in a variable called result and you're printing it. Python లో one of the best feature ఏంటిది అంటే you don't need to specify the type of the data. ఇప్పుడు A equal to 5 ఉంది. 5 అంటే ఏంటి, నంబర్ని typically ప్రోగ్రామింగ్లో we refer it as integers. ఓకే, పైథాన్లో యూ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు స్పెసిఫై దట్ ఈ లొకేషన్లో ఇంటీజర్ పెట్టుకుంటా అట్లేం అక్కర్లేదు. పైథాన్ ఇస్ అ డైనమికలీ టైప్డ్ లాంగ్వేజ్. అంటే ఏంటి అంటే యూ కెన్ స్టోర్ anything in any variable. Okay, automatically while the program is being executed, Python takes care of that internally. Before going in depth in variables, కొన్ని prerequisites ఉన్నాయి. కొంచెం మీకు డేటా టైప్స్ గురించి ఐడియా ఉంటే it would be very easy. I'll just brief a bit about data types. అంటే I mean, that's what all you need to know about data types. So Pythonలో 5 primitive data types ఉన్నాయి. Here integer, float, మనం డెసిమల్స్ అంటాం కదా అవి, బూలియన్ అంటే అవే ట్రూ ఫాల్స్ ఈ రెండే ఉంటాయి దానిలో. అండ్ దెన్ యువర్ స్ట్రింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, దోస్ ఆల్సో కమ్ అండర్ డేటా టైప్స్. I mean, those are also primitive data types in Python. And one more thing is none type. ఏ టైప్ కాకపోతే that is none type. That's it. So this is how you declare an integer variable. So a equal to 4 ante adi integer. The same way I declare b equal to 3.0, that is a float. Now c equal to dad and prad, that is a string. Now d equal to true or false, you boolean type. And then e equal to none. So these are the primitive data types that are available in Python. Primitive ante వీటి నుండి other data types are derived అనమాట. And these data types couldn't be broken further. So after you listen about this data types concept, మీకు డౌట్ రావచ్చు, అరే ఇప్పుడే Python is a dynamically typed language అన్నారు, అంటే ఏంది, ఆటోమేటిక్గా కోడ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయ్యేటప్పుడే ద డేటా టైప్స్ వుడ్ బి ఆటోమేటికల్లీ వచ్చేస్తాయి, వాటికి నువ్వు స్పెసిఫై చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు ఎక్స్ట్రాగా అని అన్నారు. మరి అట్లాంటప్పుడు వై డూ ఐ నీడ్ టు లెర్న్ అబౌట్ దీస్ ప్రిమిటివ్ డేటా టైప్స్? ఎందుకు అంటే సింపుల్ లాజిక్. సి, నీ కాడ ఒక స్ట్రింగ్ ఉంది, ఒక నెంబర్ ఉంది, యాడ్ చేయమంటే హౌ విల్ యూ డూ ఇట్? అండ్ ఈవెన్ దో Python హ్యాండిల్స్ ఇట్ డైనమికలీ, యూ షుడ్ నో at every point that what data type are you working with. సో అంటే నువ్వు అసలు నేను ఏ డేటా టైప్తో పనిచేస్తున్నానో నీకు తెలిసి ఉండాలి. బికాస్ ఇందాక చెప్పినట్టు 10 అట్లా స్ట్రింగ్లు నెంబర్లు యాడ్ చేయకుండా ఉండాలి అంటే you should know at least about this. That's why these are the primitive data types in Python. Obviously there are only 5, so you should learn it for sure. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, లెట్స్ సే ఒక పెద్ద కోడ్ బేస్ ఉంది, ఓకే, దానిలో యూ డోంట్ నో వాట్ ఈస్ ద డేటా టైప్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ పర్టిక్యులర్ వేరియబుల్. హౌ డు యూ ఫైండ్ ఇట్? దానికోసం దేర్ ఇస్ అ మెథడ్ కాల్డ్ టైప్ అని బ్రేసెస్ లోపల ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ దట్ వేరియబుల్ నేమ్, Python will give you the data type. So I'll show you an example. I'll say type of valid, or let's say a and bedam. So let's say type of a. I'll just execute this. Oh sorry, I didn't print it. So I'll just print type of a and I'll execute it. So em ochindi class int. So Python is an integer ante number adi ani. The same thing I'll do it with valid. So it gave me class bool. Meeku chuste it gave me class bool, telling that it's a boolean value. If I clear this and let's do the same thing for b. I'll run the program. It's giving me float. Ante enti? It's a float value. Ante it's a decimal value ani. So itla enti ante Python has each and everything already available for you. Manam enti ante we just need to learn how to use those to get our work done. Ante. This is one of the main reason why Python is so easy. నువ్వు ఎక్కువ స్ట్రెస్ అవ్వాల్సిన అవసరం ఉండదు, ఎక్కువ కష్టపడాల్సిన అవసరం ఉండదు, నేర్చుకోవడానికి ఎంత సింపుల్ ఉంది. సో ఆల్ రైట్, ఐ బిలీవ్ దట్స్ అ సాలిడ్ స్టార్ట్, a basic explanation up till what variables are and what are data types in Python. So if you guys are stuck somewhere or మీకు ఏదైనా అర్థం కాలేదు, just feel free to comment that I didn't understand this part, or we'll be having our Discord group links and also Telegram group links if possible in the description. You can reach out there and you can just ask your doubt and I'll be there to explain to you guys. So with that being said, let's wrap up this video. So in the next video, we're going to level this up. We're going to talk about operators and how Python does these calculations and comparisons, and we'll learn some cool tricks with some special operators also. If you're finding this series helpful, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. And also we're keeping it super beginner friendly, super simple, and also hands-on. Also check out the playlist if you've just landed here so that you don't miss any video from starting. Thank you. Alright, so that's how variables work in Python. Pretty simple, right? So I'll see you in the next video.